morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to math class. Today's lesson will be lesson 7-5, which is multiplying mixed numbers by whole numbers. So although this is similar to what we've been doing, it is a little different because you have to do a few extra steps, and there are going to be some parts of the questions today that may be confusing. So make sure you watch this whole video so you understand. So let's start off with our math message, our warm-up. So it says, each band member in 4DV practiced their instrument for 2 2/3 hours last week. So during the whole week, each person practiced for 2 2/3 hours. There were 7 band members. What is the total number of hours they practiced? So in your mind, think to yourself, what would I do to solve this problem? I need to know the total number that everyone practiced. Now there are 7 band members, so I can add 2 2/3 7 times. 2 2/3 plus 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 2 2/3. Now, I can also say, okay, instead of doing repeated addition, I can just multiply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 7 times 2 2/3. Now this past week, we were just doing something like 7 times 2/3. But today we're going to do a whole number, 7, times a mixed number. A mixed number is when you have your whole number and your fraction. So it's actually pretty easy. To multiply a whole number by a mixed number, you do 2 things. First, you do the whole number by the whole number. So first I'm going to do 7 times 2, which is, say it out loud, 14. So that's 14 wholes. Next, what I'm going to do is my whole number, 7, times my fraction, 2/3. That's like saying 2/3 7 times, or 7 times 2 is 14 thirds. So 7 times 2 2/3 is 14 thirds, because that's like saying 2 2/3 7 times when I add it up. So it looks like this. Now, if we add this up, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 2/3 7 times. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 14 wholes, 2/3, 4/3, 6/3, 8/3, 10/3, 12/3, and 14/3. I just wanted you to see that is why you get 14 and 14/3. Now, you need to, today, as part of your lesson, we know this is more than a whole, so we need to convert this. Now I know 3/3 is 1 whole, plus another 3/3, so 6/3 is 2 wholes, plus another 3/3. 9/3 is 3 wholes, plus another 3/3. 12/3 is 4 wholes. So 12/3 is 4 wholes. 12, that's 12/3. And how many more thirds to get to 14/3? Plus 2 more. So 4 and 2/3. Now some people said, oh, I can just do 3 times 4, which is 12, plus 2 more to get 14. Okay. Now, we can say our answer is 4 and 2/3. We need to take 14/3 and add it to 4 and 2/3. So our answer in total is 18 wholes and 2/3. So in total, all of the kids practice for 18 and 2/3 hours. So say to yourself, do I understand that? First, we multiplied 7 times 2 2/3. We got 14 and 14/3. 14/3 is more than a whole. So we need to figure out, what does 14/3 equal? 14/3 equals 4 wholes, because that's 3/3, 6/3, 9/3, 12/3. That's 4 wholes plus another 2/3. So 14/3 is also known as 4 and 2/3. 14 plus 4 is 18. And this is no fraction, 2/3, 18 and 2/3. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to practice 2 other things. So let's try this. Right now, I want you to have a paper and pencil ready. I don't care if it's Post-it, even a pen, but have that ready. If you don't, pause this and go get that so you can practice with me. Okay, let's try this first one. You are going to try 6 times 4 and 2/10. So you are going to figure out, what do I need to do 6 times 4 and 2/10? First, remember you're going to do your whole number, 6 times 4, and write what 6 times 4 is down on your paper. And 6 times 4 is 24. Excellent. After you do your whole number, you're going to then do your whole number by your fraction. What is 6 times 2/10, or 2/10 6 times? Write that down next to your whole number. And I know 6 times 2 is 12, so that's 12/10. So my answer, 6 times 4 and 2/10, is 24 and 12/10. Now I know 12/10 is more than a whole. So what I want you to do, convert 12/10, add it to 24/10, and come up with your final answer. Do that now. Pause this if you have to. I am going to convert it. 12/10 is the same thing as, I know 10/10 is my whole, so that's one whole, and after 10/10 there's 2 more tenths. So it's the same thing as 1 whole and 2/10. So I'm going to take 24, add it to 1 whole and 2/10, so I get 25 and 2/10. That is the same thing as saying 24 and 12/10, except I converted it to 25 and 2/10. You're still a little not sure. Let's try this one together. And if you think you're good with it, try this one as well. Okay, try this on your own. What are you going to do as your first step? Do your first step now. And your first step, you are going to be doing 8 times 3, which is 24. Oh, both of these equal 24. I didn't even realize that. Okay, now do your second step. Your second step is going to be 8 times 2/6. Now I know 8 times 2/6, that's like doing 2/6 8 times. 2/6, 2/6, 2/6. 8 times 2 is 16, and my denominator stays the same because I'm working with 6. So my answer is 24 and 16/6. Now once again, 16/6 is over a whole. So let's convert that. How many wholes is that? And what's left over? So I know 6/6 is 1 whole, and 6/6 plus another 6/6 would be 12/6. That's 2 wholes. So I know I have 2 wholes, 12/6, 13/6, 14/6, 15/6, and 16/6. So to get to 16/6, I need 4/6 more. So 16/6 is the same as 2 wholes and 4/6. So now I'm going to do 24 plus 2 wholes and 4/6. So now I'm going to get 26 and 4/6. That is my final answer. So multiplying whole numbers by fraction isn't all that hard. Whole number by whole number, and whole number by fraction. But a lot of times we're going to need to convert this answer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a practice problem that you're going to run into today. And the second part of it is where it gets a tad tricky. So watch here. Okay, here's a practice problem. And I kind of cut the question short so I can have more room to work. So it says, Tanya practiced pitching every day for an entire week. She practiced for 2 2/5 hours each day. What is the total number of hours she spent for the entire week practicing pitching? So I need to figure out an entire week. What is that? I know an entire week is 7 days. And each day, every day, she practiced for 2 2/5 hours. So I'm going to do 7 times 2 2/5. What I want you to do on your paper and pencil right now is solve what is 7 times 2 2/5. Pause this video, solve it, and come back and see if you did it correctly. So first you would do 7 times 2, which is 14. Then you would do 7 times 2/5. Now I like to kind of write it down here, and I know that 7 times 2 is 14, and I'm keeping it in fifths. So she practiced for 14 14/5 hours. Now remember, since this is more than a whole, I have to convert it. So I like going down and converting it. So I know 5/5 is 1 whole. 5/5 plus another 5/5 is 10/5, and that's 2 wholes. Plus another 5/5 is 15/5. That's too high. So I know she practiced for 2 wholes because that's 5/5 plus 5/5 is 10/5. And how many more to get to 14/5? 4/5. So I know that 14/5 is also 2 wholes and 4/5. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add 14 plus 2 and 4/5, and I'm going to get 16 wholes and 4/5. So my answer is 16 and 4/5 hours. That's how long Tanya practiced for the week. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. How many minutes is 16 and 4/5 hours? Well, I know there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So first, if there's 16 hours, I'm going to do 16 times 60. Then I have to figure out, oh man, how many minutes is 4/5 of an hour? If I break 60 into groups of 5, that's like saying 60 divided into groups of 5. Now I know 5 times 12 is 60. So each 1/5 of an hour is 12 minutes. So 1/5 of an hour is 12 minutes. 2/5 of an hour is how many minutes? 12 plus 12 is 24 minutes. 3/5 of an hour is how many minutes? Plus another 12 is 36 minutes. 4/5 of an hour is how many minutes? 48 minutes. And 5/5 of an hour is the same as 1 whole hour, which another 12 would be 60 minutes. So I know that 4/5 of an hour is 48 minutes. But is 16 and 4/5 hours 48 minutes? No, I have to first do 16 times 60. Please solve that for me. Okay, when you solve 16 times 60, you got 960. So 16 hours is 960 minutes. 4/5 of an hour is 48 minutes. So I have to do 960 plus 48, and I would get 0, carry my 1, 1,008 minutes. So 16 and 4/5 hours is 1,008 minutes. Now, next step is I have to convert that into seconds. Well, that's easy because I know 60 seconds are in a minute. So I take my minutes and multiply that by 60, and that's how many seconds I would get. And I'm not going to do that because I'm running short on this video. So take a look. Now in your work today, you are going to be taking word problems. You are going to be multiplying whole numbers by fractions. Whole numbers by mixed numbers. You're going to be finding the answer. You're going to be converting that answer into minutes and minutes into seconds. I'm going to make another quick video for one more problem of this if you still need help from hours to minutes and minutes to seconds. So if you're having a problem converting from hours to minutes and minutes to seconds, watch the second short video that I'm going to make so you can see another example. I just ran out of time on this one, so it won't fit. So if you need help on this, before you start commenting or emailing me, I want you to watch this short second video of working through it together. Have a great day. Happy solving. And as always, let me know if you need any help.